Have you ever heard a stranger say something so simple that it shattered your silence? I met a man in a dusty parking lot. He wasn't trying to teach me anything, but his words found the part of me I hadn't visited in years. It was late fall in the city, the kind of day when the wind isn't loud, but constant, brushing leaves across the sidewalk like it's sweeping something away. The trees lining the business district were half bare, orange and brown leaves clinging to branches like they hadn't quite given up. I had stayed late at the office again. Emails, meetings, performance charts, Q4 targets, the usual blur of achievement without meaning. The parking lot was nearly empty. It always felt lonelier at that hour, not because there were fewer cars, but because everyone had already driven away. Lives moving forward, dinners waiting, homes with lights turned on. Mine was just an apartment, quiet and full of unread books. I walked toward my car, key fob in hand, checking my phone without really reading it. Missed call from Mom. Again. A message from Dad. Just a thumbs-up emoji from 2 days ago. I didn't reply. I hadn't in a while. Not because I didn't care, but because I thought I had time to catch up, time to explain, time to be better. I heard a cough before I saw him. At the far end of the lot, an older man in a faded blue attendant uniform sat on a folding chair outside the booth. The booth looked like it belonged to another era. Scratched plexiglass, yellowed plastic signs, and a rusted cash-only placard that somehow had survived decades of change. The man looked like part of the booth. Or maybe the booth looked like part of him. He wasn't doing anything, just watching. Not like security, but like someone who had seen too much to be surprised by anything anymore. I gave a polite nod, the kind you give strangers in passing. He returned it, slow, deliberate, respectful. I would have kept walking. I had no intention of talking. I had a podcast queued up, dinner to heat, more silence to return to. But then he said, not loudly, almost to himself, "You remind me of someone. My daughter, I think. She walks just like that. Like she's always trying to get somewhere before something catches her." I stopped. It wasn't the comparison. It was the gentleness in his voice. The way he said "my daughter" not with pride or pain, but with a kind of ache that had settled into acceptance. I turned. "You don't see her often?" He shook his head, eyes not meeting mine, still watching the wind move the leaves. "Not in years. We both got busy, I guess." It wasn't dramatic. He didn't look sad. He didn't look anything. That was what made it hit so hard. He just said it, like it was just another fact, like it was too late to dress it up with emotions. I didn't know what to say, so I stood there, with my keys in my hand and my chest tightening for reasons I couldn't yet name. I ended up leaning against the side of my car, arms crossed, the cold seeping through my coat sleeves. The old man didn't move. He just kept looking forward, like the horizon beyond the lot held memories no one else could see. "I used to call her every Sunday," he said. "Did it for years, even when she was busy, even when she didn't call back. I just kept doing it, like a ritual." There was something about the way he spoke. Not bitter, not nostalgic, just present, like he was still living inside those voicemails, long deleted. "What happened?" I asked, almost whispering. He shrugged. "I think we both started thinking the other person was too busy, or too distant, or maybe we were just too proud to say, 'Hey, I miss you.' So we stopped. I didn't know this man. I didn't even know his name. But the space between us had grown dense, thick with the kind of truth that doesn't need names to feel real." He chuckled softly. "You ever realize too late that silence is a choice? I always thought time would take care of it. Like, someday we'd sit down and it'd all just click back into place." He looked at me for the first time then, not just glancing, but really looking. His eyes weren't wet, but they were tired in a way that made my chest hurt. "It doesn't," he said. "Not unless someone decides to break the silence first." That was the moment. It wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. But it felt like something inside me realigned. I thought about my mom's missed calls, my dad's simple text, the way I used to visit just to drop off a gift and leave quickly, as if love could be expressed by efficiency. "I think she's doing okay," he added after a pause. "She lives out west now, has 2 boys. I saw a photo once online. She looked happy. The smile he gave wasn't jealous or mournful. It was gentle, brave. You should call them, he said softly, as if he could read what I was thinking. I nodded, my throat thick. Yeah, I should. He looked away again. Most people don't realize they're already becoming memories in someone else's story. And that line, that sentence, landed so deep it echoed. Car pulled into the lot then. He stood up slowly, stretching his back. Figured it was time to go. But as I opened my door, he said one last thing. Tell them while you still can. Not when it's poetic. Just when it's possible. Then he walked off toward the booth, the folding chair creaking as he settled back down. I sat in my car for a long time, didn't start the engine, just stared at my phone. And then, for the first time in far too long, I called home. It wasn't a long call. I didn't know what to say. I didn't plan a speech. I just hit call on my mom's name and waited. She picked up on the second ring. There was surprise in her voice. And then something else, warmth, confusion, joy, all wrapped together in that single fragile word. Hello. We didn't talk about much. Just the weather, dinner plans, how Dad was trying to fix the faucet again without calling a plumber. But under all of it was something more powerful than any apology. Presence. Real shared time. I listened. I asked questions. I told her I missed them. After we hung up, I called Dad too. He answered with his usual, "Hey, kiddo." Like nothing had ever been broken. That's the thing about parents. They leave the door open, even if you haven't knocked in a while. Over the following weeks, I called more. I visited. I didn't wait for the holidays. I didn't need a reason. I just showed up. And something strange happened. The more I reached out, the more I started showing up in other areas of my life too. I stopped ghosting old friends. I messaged my sister back without thinking. I said yes when someone asked if I wanted to grab coffee, even when I was tired. It wasn't a transformation. It was a return to something I didn't know I drifted from. Every time I walked through a parking lot after that night, I found myself looking for him. The old attendant. The man with tired eyes and timeless truth. But I never saw him again. I don't know if he still works there. Maybe he never did. Maybe he was only meant to be there for one night, for one sentence. Tell them while you still can. Not when it's poetic. Just when it's possible. I carry that line with me now like a compass. Not loud. Not glowing. Just always pointing me back toward the people I love. Before the silence gets too loud to break. And if that moment hadn't happened, if I hadn't stopped, if he hadn't spoken, I wouldn't be here now telling you this story.